Hey guys, welcome to the Property Panel Podcast. You got myself, Jalen Hardcastle here, and of course we're missing co-host Josh Story. But this week is one of the most exciting weeks of the year in Kentucky. It's Derby week, guys, and it's actually so exciting for us. We like to make it into about a 2-week-long process, starting off with Thunder over Louisville, which, as I'm sure most of you know, it's the first time in history that it was actually canceled due to the natural disasters that we've been having. I mean, that's one exciting thing about Kentucky is that you can sometimes get all 4 seasons in 1 week. We went from a foot or two of snow to a foot or two of rain to some hail, some tornadoes. I mean, pretty much every significant weather you could have has happened. So I'm sure the insurance companies are staying busy and working overtime the last few weeks. But it's a perfect time for Derby season to come around because obviously it's picking our spirits up. And like I mentioned, it's one of the most exciting times to be alive in Kentucky is this week. And it obviously starts, like I said, with Thunder over Louisville. They have some balloon races, and they literally have all kinds of stuff. And then this week they had like 502 Day, Oaks, Derby, and then they got obviously the Derby Saturday. So a bunch of exciting things that not only impact the major cities like Louisville and Lexington, but also will branch out to those more rural communities like Meade County, Breckenridge County, Bowling Green, which is a larger city. But you get what I'm saying. They're the whole state benefits from those larger activities that the state puts on. And not everyone wants to be in those big crowded cities, but wants to be within earshot to be able to have that fun too. So that's why I think we live in a perfect community right here in Meade County, about an hour within range of a lot of things like Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green, Owensboro. We have a lot of great cities around us. So I'm thankful to be where I live, and especially like I'm going to be talking about in this episode, the benefits that we see impacting from living, in a central location to those major cities. But before we get started, I want to give a thanks to our sponsor, obviously Collier Title Company. They do deep prep, title work, closings, and more. They're located in Brandenburg, Louisville, and E-Town. And you can reach them at 270-763-6589. And for this week's ad, we have We Buy Houses at 270-945-5416 or 270-945-7189. And We Buy Houses any shape, condition, or situation, cash, and can close fast as little as 2 weeks. So give us a call. We don't care if it's a perfect house or if it's you can see the ground in it. We'll buy it literally any situation, any condition. But if you or anyone you know would like to be a weekly, monthly, or yearly ad sponsor, it's 100 weekly, 300 monthly, 3,000 yearly. You're advertised on our intros, outros, as well as intermissions on all social media platforms. And we're actually doing a giveaway, so the easiest way to be entered is go ahead and do a like, share, or subscribe. Obviously, you actually got to follow, but go ahead and hit the like, share, subscribe because that does wonders for us too. But obviously, we're doing a 250 or 300 follower giveaway on Facebook. We're at 250 followers now, and then we're going to be doing a 500 follower giveaway. So they will both be for some Visa gift cards or some local restaurants around here that you can go eat at. And then obviously we have on TikTok our 100 follower giveaway, which we're nearing, and it's going to be some Cedar Hill Properties Property Panel Podcast merch. Like some shirts, koozie, pins, all that good stuff. So go ahead, give us a follow, help us help you. That's the name of the game. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So obviously it's Derby week, so I kind of wanted to talk about the picks. We'll just start off with the Kentucky Derby. We know it's exciting. I don't know who you're picking for, but I want you to know who I'm picking for. So obviously I'll start down the list. We got Citizen Bull, they're at 20-1 odds. We got Neo Cuos at 30-1 odds. Okay. Final Gambit, 30-1. American Promise, 30-1. Admired Dayton, 30-1. Luxor Cafe, 15-1. Journalism, 3-1. That's pretty good odds right there. Burnham Square, 12-1. Flying Mohawk, 30-1. East Avenue, 20-1. Publisher, 20-1. Tistastic, 20-1. Render Judgment, 30-1. Coal Battle, 30-1. Sandman, 6-1. Sovereignty, 5-1. Chunk of Gold, 30-1. Owen Almighty, 30-1. And Baiza, not sure of the odds on that one. So it's pretty interesting to see. I'm not sure if y'all are as into horse betting as me, but it's something that I've really enjoyed doing over the years, and especially going to Derby a few years back. And my buddy Jeremy, he goes to the track all the time. So we're actually setting up an office date to go to Downs After Dark here whenever that gets going again. But it's pretty odd to me to see lower odds right here on that 17-18 gate. So I've heard a lot of people talking about Sandman, but in all honesty, with him being on the Southside gate, I'm not sure the last time someone's won from that far out. So I'm kind of more looking at maybe even like this 12-1 Burnham Square. And obviously you got your 13 and 15-1. They have a little better chances too, but I think I'm going to go with Burnham Square. That's what I'm going to go with. 12-1. I like that middle gate. If he gets a good start, he can kind of close out on the front runners and kind of catch them off guard. So I think that'll be pretty beneficial. Comment below what you guys might be picking, and we can have a little fun with that. We might do a giveaway if someone comments the winning horse. So go ahead, comment that below. We appreciate you. And let's dive into it. Why are home buyers betting on Meade County? So I want to talk about the draw of the rural living. Obviously, we have lower prices, more land to own, and peaceful lifestyles rather than the hustle and bustle of all the stoplights, the pedestrians, the crosswalks. It's odd to see more than 5 stoplights in this town. We have them on the bypass, and that's about it. But they are needed, obviously, especially in those more combust areas. But that's the perks of living out here is, you're not going to run into that kind of lifestyle. And all this can still be tied to the celebration of the Kentucky Derby. So basically, if you want to own houses, own land, and stuff like that, Meade County is a great place to come to, especially with it being centralized to Louisville and Lexington, that specifically, do those equestrian races. But yeah, so I mean, even around here, there's horse farms galore, cattle fields, and all that good stuff. But like I said, a home here in Louisville, so we'll go for instance on a standard $200,000 house. You can get a new double wide for $200,000 at 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath, or you can even get you a stick built home, 3-bed, 1-bath, maybe 3-bed, 2-bath, depending on the square footage. Whereas in Louisville, you're going to be paying for almost $200,000 for a 2-1 or 3-1 at 1,100 square foot. So we got lower prices here, and obviously most of your land's going to be centered on a quarter acre, sometimes even less, or maybe even no acres for that price. Whereas, down here, you're going to at least get an acre for those new double wides at $200,000. And I've actually got homes that are coming up right now with 4 to 5 acres that are upwards to $200,000 that might have a single wide and a garage on it, which are still nice, and they've been totally updated. So I think that's why buyers are betting on Meade County, and especially, like I said, we're centralized, but we're also industrialized too. So we got Nucor, one of the biggest steel factories that have come into Kentucky or even America in a long time. So that's obviously one of the bigger industrializations that's come straight to Meade County. And then we're centralized to Elizabethtown, like the battery factory, Blue Oval. I think Meta's coming around here somewhere. And then obviously Louisville, we got LG&E, Cosmos, all those huge name brand companies. So we're still centralized. You can still work there and come home to that peaceful lifestyle, which I think is huge in Meade County. And then kind of pastures to profits is this next segment. So in Meade County, we don't see it as much as like you might in Louisville, because obviously everyone wants to be as close as they can to the to the Churchill. But what I see, actually, I got a few friends in Louisville that do flips and stuff like that. So they got multiple properties within walking distance of Churchill. So they will make their mortgage this week for this month and next month probably, and sometimes even 3 months in advance on that property, just letting people park there for the day. They set a sign in the yard like, hey, call me, and, it works for them, and that's cool. So that's one perk of living up there. But one perk of living down here is, it might be a little cheaper, and it's only an hour drive, and you don't got to get up there till 10 or 11, so people can afford, that extra hour or two to get up there. So that's where we're seeing more rentals and less vacancies in our short-term rentals like Airbnbs and VRBOs and stuff like that here in Meade County. And even as far as Rough River, that's an hour and a half drive, So, but it's, like I said, one of the biggest races in Kentucky and maybe even the world as far as horse racing goes. They say it's the, most watched 2 minutes in sports history. I don't know how true that is, but it's pretty cool to see that it's only an hour from here and it's something that we get to go enjoy. And I've been a handful of times and loved it every time. And of course I love betting on them. So I think there's a lot of money to be made whenever these events come in, like Churchill, obviously, but we got the Louisville Fair, and other big things like that are always coming to Louisville. So I think that's why we're always benefiting from them. And then another good thing, which I already kind of touched base on, is the equestrian living that you could have here in Meade County. We're always driving past horse farms. The land is a lot cheaper, so you can afford more acreage for your horses to roam around, which then in turn can allow you more coaches or training for your horses to potentially get them up to that Kentucky Derby standard. And I've had a few friends. I mean, I know horses are expensive, especially a thoroughbred that gets to race in the Kentucky Derby. I could only imagine having a fifth of that money right now. That'd be very nice. But again, I mean, explore buying and selling small horse farms, mini ranches, and acreage that appeals to equestrian hobbyists. So maybe if you're not even an equestrian hobbyist, you're just an investor, look for those plots of land that you can maybe get in touch with those people, because horse racing is a lot of money. It brings a lot of money. They're willing to spend a lot of money. So if you can find them the right ground or pasture for them, it's huge. So you might want to look an hour or two out in some cases from Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green, those major cities, to see, what kind of deals you can get. And then we're going to Country Calm Derby Energy. Why more buyers are leaving the city for places like Meade County. So obviously a huge thing, I think, is, crime rate. That's one of the biggest things. Whenever people are moving to Meade County, they're like, I'm scared. I'm scared of, I have to watch my back everywhere I go in Louisville. And not everywhere in Louisville, that may be true. I mean, there are safe places in Louisville, and I still go to Louisville myself. But I do feel safer when I come to Meade County. But the world's getting crazier and crazier by the day. So always, watch your back. But especially around this time of the year when you got Derby, you got Thunder. It's, like I said, 2-3 weeks of just nonstop chaos up in Louisville. The seasonal buzz tends to broaden migration to counties like Meade County and more rural areas because they have more space to move. They don't have people all, shoulder to shoulder on them. I know how it can be up in those cities, and it's not always enjoyable, especially from someone like me coming from a more rural town. But it is nice to go and, like I said, be within distance. That's why I love Meade County. It's such a centralized location. I can get to Tennessee, Nashville within 2 hours. I can get to Bowling Green, Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis. Evansville. I mean, I can get so many cities within an hour and a half, 2 hours, right here from Meade County. And then if I want to get to major cities like Louisville or E-Town, or Owensboro, I can get there within 45 minutes too. So, I love our area, and it's the last little bit of rural town that we got in the centralized location, especially us being part of the Ohio River. We got some pretty views around here, some rolling hills, and yeah, I just love it here, guys. Y'all should move here and call me to be your realtor. But we're also going to talk about what the Kentucky Derby means for rural real estate values. Yes, even in Meade County, this part of the season can ramp values up. It'll boost availability and visibility, and economy and interest in Meade County because, like I said, people are having to look outside of Louisville to get those better rates or less traffic, and what have you, that are not directly connected with the Derby. So places like Meade County, Breckenridge County are still a lot cheaper, but within driving distance. So that might be something that you might want to look for. And then obviously we got Rough River Lake, Nolan Lake. We got Cumberland Lake, Kentucky Lake. We got a bunch of different lakes and rivers in our area that, will suffice for the rest of the year, like especially summer and fall months that the Derby's not going on. We got a few rentals down there that, during the winter, we still rent them out, but honestly, we owned them right after Derby last year, and we had a good summer just starting out. Obviously, we're always improving, doing more things to bring more interest. As like next week, we're going out for a business venture to talk with a couple owners of businesses out there to kind of coordinate maybe some discounts if we can hook each other up with some more customers, which is cool. But just stuff like that. It doesn't directly correlate to the Derby, but you just got to look at your opportunities and the seasons, and that's what I'm talking about. Like this time of the year, and that's what I've talked to quite a few people. I'm about to list 4 or 5 houses next week, which is awesome. I always pride myself on being a buyer's agent, investor's agent, but I've been getting a little more listings this year, and I don't really have a clue why other than, I do the work and people are realizing that. But also, I'm not bullshitting you. And in this time of in this day and age in real estate where people are trying to get these astronomical amounts for everything, it takes someone that can be professional and serious. And, yes, it'd be great for me to get a $500,000 listing. But if the home's only worth $250,000, then, am I hurting or helping myself? I'm not going to get that sale regardless. So even people, to be more prompt on the situation, there's a home that's worth about $400,000. They want to list at $425,000. I was like, let's list at $395,000. She's like, what? We need to get this much. And I was like, well, it's right below market value. And in the past couple of months, everything I've listed below market values actually brought more than market value, whereas anything I listed at market values brought less than market value. So it's weird how it works, but that's why we have the data and analysis that we continue to revise and read over and execute better and better. Just like our Airbnbs, how we continue to stage those and do more and more with those. We're doing the same with our real estate portfolio, with our clients, and with just anything. We research the data, see how it's went in years past, see what's worked, what's not worked, and we put the best of both worlds together. So I think that's why we're one of the best full service real estate companies in the state, let alone this area. And results speak for itself, in my opinion, and that's why I'm very results based. And I think a lot of people might think that I'm maybe a little rude, or I'm just straight to the point. It's strictly business with me, and I don't mean any harm. I just want everyone to get to the closing table as quickly as we can, and I want everyone to be as happy as we can. And I'm not. And one thing I always like to tell people is, I prepare people for the worst, so they can expect the best, or expect the worst. I prepared something like that. It's really good when I text it, but yeah. I always set people up, let them know, like, hey, this is the worst case scenario, and it might very well go that way, but we're going to do better than that. And a lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to do better than that. And the good thing is, when things do go bad, I've already prepared them for it. So that's why, I'm never in a sticky situation. But no, yeah, that's my little tidbit on Meade County and why it's good, especially this time of the year. This is the best time of the year in Kentucky to sell. So whenever Derby's around, you should probably list that house, and maybe you should go ahead and buy right before Derby too, because things are going to start going up a little after, because there's an influx of buyers. Not all the time. They might, stay the same, but interest rates are lowering also, as we've mentioned in episodes past. So I do see the prices increasing a little bit by the end of the year. So I think it is a good time to buy. And if the rates aren't where you want them, they're better than they've been, and they can always get better also. So you can refinance, but yeah, we just want to thank you for tuning in today. Go ahead, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Comment your Derby picks below, and if your horse wins, you'll become a winner here as well. Let's give a thanks to our Call Your Title company. They do deed prep, closings, and more. You can reach them at 270-763-6589. And for this week's episode, we have We Buy Houses at 270-945-5416 or 270-945-7189. Thank you, guys. Have a great Derby weekend.